So I had printed out all of the instructions that were on the project list and had organized all my pieces, put the same things together, and then I was really confused because the instructions for assembly were pretty vague. Plus, I didn't even have this shape to make. There was this one, and they're very similar. So in the end, I realized I didn't even really need those instructions, and there are a lot of those pieces. Then I saw that this is the giant rose, I think. Let me double check. Oh, I didn't print that part off. But I looked up the cartridge and I found a YouTube video of somebody putting this flower together, which really helped me. And then I looked at what pieces you needed. There was 5 of this shape of petal, and 1 of these, and 5 of these petals, and 3 of these, and 7 of these. So I grouped all of these together per flower. So I wasn't sure how many of each petal there was, so I just found all of this size and counted how many there was, and then divided up the petals between them, because it ends up there's not 7 of this size petal. So that's how I grouped these together, and then they each got 1 of these down the leaves. So I did that for, there's orange and green. There's 2 sizes of each color. So I grouped those together. And there was an extra leaf, so I'm not quite sure what I'll do with that, but I just set that aside. And then this flower, it's showing you to roll it up towards the center, and then it had these, but there are not any of these petals, so you don't need this part of the instruction. So there is quite a few circular flowers. Oh, here's the other. This is the beginning of the rose instructions, so we'll keep those together. So these, on all the circular flowers, you just roll them up. So I just went ahead and rolled all those up too. So then all of these pieces that I'd folded, I wasn't quite sure how many pieces each flower got, because there was more than, well, there was a lot of these pieces. And I looked at the picture of the wreath, and there's not that many of these flowers. But I noticed there's some big ones and some little ones. And there's 4 big ones and how many little ones? I don't remember how many little ones. I think there's 4 little ones as well. So I just divided them up, and I looked. This illustration actually helped me quite a bit, because I could see how they kind of grouped them. These size pieces and these size pieces are the same. So the big one has this size, which is the biggest for the smaller flower. And then the smallest piece for the big one is the middle size for the small flower. So I just divided them up, made it to where there was 4 of the large ones and 4 of the smaller ones. Then I could see all these spiral ones, and so I just rolled those, and then the little white flowers, I just put the petal sizes together. Okay, so after I finally figured out what I needed, now is the time to score and to curve your petals, and then ink the edges if you want. Okay, next let's work on these ones that look like mums. So you get these star-shaped pieces that have individual petals, and they have a score line down the center. And in the instructions, it shows to fold them down. Where'd it go? I don't know if you can see that. It shows the score lines here and to fold them down. So I am using one side's textured and one side's smooth. So I wanted the texture side up. So I found it easiest to just use my thumb and just sort of bend it up and go all the way around each petal. Okay, that was just sort of to get it started, and then if you flip it over, you can bend them all the way. Keep those points straight. It's a little bit hard. Again, if you want to, you can mist them with a little bit of water, and that can make it a little bit easier to work with. Once you have all your pieces, just wipe that up. Once you have all your pieces scored like that, then the instructions show to go from biggest to then put the next one and then put the next one. So start with your biggest pieces. So for this largest flower here, there are 3 sizes of petals with 3 pieces of each size. So put the biggest ones together first. So just put one on the bottom, put some glue in the center, and then line it up so that the petals are not right on top of each other. And then just press that down. And you can use hot glue if you prefer hot glue. I just like to be able to move it around a little bit in case I don't quite get it in there, and I found it nice to have a tool to push down in that middle because it gets kind of hard. Okay, once you have the 3 biggest, then you move on to the middle size petals. Here's the second one. And as you go, it starts to curve up like a mum. So at first you might think that it's not looking like a mum. I just love watching it take shape. Okay, now we're ready for these smallest ones. So again, just gluing and lining it up right, and then putting that, pushing down and getting it to stay in place. Okay, so with your last one, mums kind of have a center that is kind of well, it's quite closed. So I haven't quite figured out how to get it to look like that, but the best I could do was put some glue on the inside and on the outside, at the edges of the petal near the center. And then I just took it and curled it all up like this, really tightly. And then held it. And if you want, you can kind of maybe spread that glue out. Maybe that would help. I couldn't quite figure out how to get it to stay nice and tight like that. I don't know. But then you just, again, put some glue in there and hold it in. Well, that one stayed up a little bit more tightly. Okay, so then for the smaller one, there's again 3 sizes of petals, but this one only has 2 of each size of petal. So you put it together the same way. Just stacking and gluing. As you're doing it, make sure that your fold lines, your score lines are going down so that the petal is facing this way, not this way. So just line it up so that the petals are opposite. Glue in the middle. Put those down. Let's see if we can get this to stay. That was too much glue, but well, maybe I'll put my finger in there and just kind of rub it all around. Let's see. Wipe my finger off here. Hold that up. This one doesn't seem to be wanting to be up. Maybe you can kind of play with the petals to shape it more how you'd like it to look. Like those up a little bit more. Okay, so for this kind of flower, there are 4 of the smaller ones, like this, and 4 of these large ones.